Okay. Oh, I think we've got it. Ah, all right. So many. Hi. Oh, so many settings today. Like, and technology not wanting to work today. Ah, but we're here. We're here. Yeah, we're here. Ah, okay. Happy Monday. Ah, happy Monday. Happy new moon. That is more exciting. Happy new moon. Put this over here. Happy new moon. That is the big news, right? Happy new moon. And I think we're almost out of the moon energy right now. But that is okay because hopefully it was beneficial to you. This is new moon in Pisces. And this is, don't let me forget, I put my glasses over there. And this is, because I will. And this is, the time when we have that energy that comes down, and in the new moon, we are asked to reassess. We're asked to think about what's going on, where are we going, what are we doing, and I want to ask you to reassess. How do I want to say this? What I want to say is what happens when you lose a mentor. That's what I want to say. So let me figure out how to say this of how do we say this in a spiritual term of, I'm just going to say it. What happens when a mentor passes? Because for me, a mentor passed here during this new moon. Let me see. She passed before the new moon cycle, but the knowledge came to me during the new moon. And so I want to say, what do you, when a mentor passes, it brings us to the moment where we need to think for a second about the impact this person had on our lives. And if the person was still currently your mentor, then that relationship obviously is going to change. But if the person wasn't still currently your mentor, then we need to reassess. And it gives us the opportunity to go back and visit what was that relationship, what was the value in it, and what can I learn from it. So for me, I had a Mary Kay national sales director who was a mentor to me. I've been blessed to have many amazing women that were mentors to me, but in this case, this was very early in my career, still living in California. And she was so wonderful to me. She had no reason to even give me the time of the day, but that's just not how things go in Mary Kay. And she was such a wonderful mentor to me. And there are things that I used and learned from her that helped me build my Mary Kay business that have served me in every other thing that I have done in my life, not just Mary Kay. But we haven't spoken in a very long time because the truth is that she wasn't my national sales director, and she lived in another state. And when she retired from Mary Kay, she left California and she moved away. And there was no reason to continue to work together because she was retired, and I certainly didn't want to bother her in her retirement. And we, occasionally, if she would come back to visit at an event or something. So there were certainly opportunities for me to share with her how meaningful she was to me and how important she was to me. And I think that's one of the things that the 2020, all this pandemic has really brought home is how important it is to let the people around us know how important they are. In addition, when we lose a mentor and that shifts something in our mind, that shifts something where we say, now I need to think about not only what this person's value was in my life while they were in my life, and it gives us the opportunity to reflect on what was the value of this person in my life at that time, but what is the value that I want to ascribe to it as I go forward. And there's so much that we can learn. And we've talked so many times about, I'm going to get my slinky out. We've talked so many times about not just, using the slinky as opening the DNA, but let me come to the sort of the end of the slinky here. We've talked so many times about how life is a circle, and I know there's 100 songs about that, but that we keep coming around to the same places over and over again, but that and people say, why does this keep happening? Why do I keep coming around to the same thing over and over again? And it isn't that the same thing is happening over and over again, but we are coming to a new place. We may come around to this same spot over and over again, but we're coming to this same spot at a higher level, at a higher understanding, at a higher place each time that we do that. So we aren't going around the same thing and learning the same lessons, but we may be learning the same lesson from a different perspective. We may be learning the same kind of thing from a different perspective. And so when a mentor leaves your life, whether that's from passing away or moving away, or the relationship ends because the job ends, or what have you, when a mentor leaves your life, it's such a beautiful opportunity to reflect. And especially so in this particular case, we hadn't spoken in a long time. And she was only in her 80s. So this was not, early 80s. This was not someone I would consider to be, old. Hi. We will do some short mini readings at the end. So if you want to hang on, we'll be so happy to help you at the end. And thank you for joining us. So it's certainly not somebody that I considered to be old enough to leave. And to my knowledge, she wasn't sick. But again, I had not kept touch. But it gives us the opportunity to really reflect on the lessons that were learned from that person in our life at the time that they were in it. But it also gives us the opportunity to reflect on how those lessons may be applicable to us now. And so that was where I spent some time in this new moon window, is really looking at the things that she showed me and taught me, and the gifts that she gave me, tangible and intangible, and then how those can be, to let her passing be this reminder for me of the things that she taught me in my life, and where can they be applicable today. And so I want to bring that to your attention, because we are in the new moon. So the new moon was the 13th. So we're 2 days in, and we know that 48-hour window is really like the time where that energy is the highest. And I've seen so many people that are affected, highly affected by the pull of the moon, who feel like in that 48 hours, it's like almost too much for them to really get in there and do the work. And so they're better off kind of letting themselves do that work in the before that 48-hour window or after the 48-hour window, and that's okay too. But allowing yourself the opportunity to reflect. And I bring this because in this time of losing my mentor to, a good life lived. In the same week, I said goodbye to another friend who passed from COVID, who was far too young to go. And I say that from the human perspective and not from the mediumistic side, because as a medium, I know that everybody goes in their right proper timing, but I'm still a human and still have my heart. And so I say that to lose so many people, and we've seen 500,000 people, more than 500,000 people that we have lost this year just to the COVID pandemic. And so it's important that we take the time between now, because we're coming now as the 15th, and we're coming now into the solstice. So it's not just new moon, but we're coming into the solstice. And so we allow that energy that comes down to the new moon and starts working its way back up as we get into the full moon. This is the time of really, it's spring. It's going to be spring, the official start of spring, right? And so we take that time to really reassess and to look at the people who have touched our lives, and where can we reestablish those connections? Where can we reestablish growth in our lives and in those relationships? And also, where can we really appreciate the things that we have had from those plants, those roots that we have had previously. And so the spring, as we come into the solstice, is really such a beautiful time to look at what has grown here before, what can grow here again, and as always, what can I be grateful for? So having said all of that, let's get some cards. Let's get some cards. All right. So, I always like to start with Oracle of the 7 energies to figure out which of our energy centers is needing the most of our attention this week. So where are we and what do we need to be paying most attention to this week? I always try and I don't like to pre-shuffle. I like you to hear that noise so that you know I'm doing it fresh for you. Cards are never pre-pulled. Don't ascribe to that. That's just me personally. All right. Thank goodness, it is spring break in a lot of places this week because we have such a small group today, which is really super fun. All right, so great and full, great and full. This is card number 4. This is great and full. I'm going to grab the book on this because I feel like this is in our sacral chakra. So this is Colette Baron-Reid's Oracle of the 7 Energies. If you follow her, she's been doing a lot of readings using this deck right now, which is really fantastic. So this is going to be into the root chakra. So glasses. All right, so this is, before you can begin to understand the process of manifesting your desires, you need to practice deep gratitude and the willingness to share that with others. Okay, seriously, I can't even, because I say this every week. The cards do not lie. I will bring forward whatever channeled information that they want to share through my mouth, and then we inevitably pull cards that go in alignment with whatever it was that I just said. So that is not me. That is the wisdom of the hires, and I am always so incredibly grateful when they bring forward information that aligns so perfectly with what they have channeled through me, because it means I have interpreted them correctly. Excuse me, and it also means that the cards are there to reinforce what we believe, so or what we have heard, and so I am just always so incredibly grateful for that. Okay, so one more time, we're going to move on to our Goddess Power Oracle cards, which I love because it gives us the opportunity to see which feminine leadership, which higher leadership is with us as we are going through this time. And I think for me, I think that's so important, especially right now. We're in the new moon with Pisces. This is a time of duality. It's definitely a time of feminine intuition and trusting our feminine intuition. And I don't care what sex you are, he, she, they, whatever. We all have feminine and masculine intuition, and learning to trust and to tap into those things at will becomes very, very important. And so here we have, oh, I love that, especially with what I just said. So here we have Morgan, Death and Magic. So here Morgan is going to be our card with Death and Magic. And this makes me so happy because this literally just taps into the what we were talking about the passing of my mentor, and then also the masculine and the feminine, because, you know, the magic world, you have so much, I want to say, struggle between the masculine and the feminine energies. And so really to tap into both sides of ourselves, excuse me, and knowing that we have both sides of ourselves, and that it is so important for us to be in tune with both. But I always like to read in the book because I don't always know enough about the goddesses. So I always like to read what was written about the goddess that we pull. And it says, consider your life a magical gift and your experience of it a beautiful opportunity to leave the world a better place. You give that gift back when death comes and ends your time on this plane. Experiences, relationships, projects, and even long cherished dreams are all subject to the natural laws of death and magic and of the Celtic goddess Morgan. Now is the time for you to let certain parts of your life die and recognize this process as something to celebrate as well as to mourn. Let's go with love and gratitude. So I love that because, again, it reminds us that it's so important for us to take stock and to have that appreciation for those people who came into our lives and who were so important into our lives, and to thank them, thank the universe, thank whatever that is, and to reevaluate that relationship. If the mentor is still in your life, do they have a place in your life? Do we need to let that relationship go? Has it served its purpose? Or even to move forward with letting those things go, but always to reassess. If the relationship was meaningful, to reassess and say, this is what was so important to me about it at the time. How can those lessons be applied now? And is that still important to me now? Is that still important to me? All right. So we're going to pull from my favorite deck. And if you are new and have not watched us before and spent time with me before, I am always liking to use multiple decks. So their last cards always come from the Work Your Light Oracle from Rebecca Campbell. I am super excited for, I always so happy to use her deck. I feel like this deck personally just has such great energy about it. And so we start with the initiation. It says rite of passage and crossing the threshold. And I love that because that is so much about who we are, about stepping into this new iteration of our life, this new place. And we've talked about that so much, about we have been in that cocoon of transformation, and now we are coming out of the cocoon of transformation, and we are getting ready to come out. We've been bursting out, and we've got spring. Here it is, spring, and we've got the new moon, and then we're going to be moving into that solstice as well. And so this is that time of rebirth, of coming out. And so as we do that, we have the initiation card that's talking about, again, who do we want to be as we emerge, okay? And as we are moving through this time of the new moon in Pisces, where there is this masculine and feminine pull, again, who do I want to be? What path is most important for me? And then, okay, and so Lemuria has been coming up a lot. Lemuria has been coming up a lot, and Lemuria talks to us about how there was peace on earth. In the previous incarnation of humanity on this planet, there was peace on earth, and it was a utopia. And then that was those people ascended or left, and we began life on earth again. And then we have, come to the place where we are right now. So this gives us the reminder that A, it is possible, but B, it's a choice. It's a choice for us to choose love. It's a choice for us to choose gratitude over hate and anger and racism. And there's so much of that going on. And if you have followed me for any kind of time, you will hear, you would have heard me talk about how we've got this great divide, right? Which, you don't have to be a brain surgeon in the United States right now to understand there's this great divide, where we have had the rising of the light and the rising of the dark in response. And as the light was getting stronger, the dark became louder and became stronger, so that we finally had, the election of people who, didn't believe in equality and held racist thoughts. And then and humanity, and then we had this great fracturing, okay? And we saw the great fracturing through the November election, and it culminated on January 6th with this great fracturing. And what's so interesting now is we have been watching this sort of chipping away of the people who were like, wait a minute, I don't want to be on the side of the dark, I want to be on the side of the light. And they are waking up to that anger and hate is not the way forward. And at the same time, we have people who are doubling down. There's always going to be those folks that double down. There's always going to be those people who are like, nope, I'm staying with hate because anger, and I'm mad, and that's just how it's going to be. And that's okay. But what we're seeing more people that are moving away from this to say, you know what? This is not serve. This is not, make me happy. This is not the right way. Even if this is maybe not exactly where I want to be, I don't want to be over here. And so we're seeing this sort of fracturing and this fraying, especially around the edges of the side on the dark, where we're seeing this fraying of the edges, and people are coming back into the light. And so that is the part where Lemuria continues to come up, because we have this reminder that what they achieved is fully possible if we are willing to continue to work at it, and if we are continuing to welcome the light. And we must receive others with love. It's so important that even if we don't agree about things, we must receive others with love. Now, there are some people out there that are just too dark for words, and we do not need to receive them with hate. We don't need to receive them at all. But understanding that if you need to receive somebody who does not agree with you or does not share the same views, receiving them with love is preferable, because you can, as we've talked many times, love them far away. You don't have to engage yourself. You don't have to connect your energy into that in order to connect with them. You can have, in order to communicate with them, you can communicate politely. You can communicate with respect. You don't have to agree. You don't have to devolve into hate. Okay, Hate, what is it they say? Hate, I choose love because hate is too great a burden to bear. And I feel like that is so true. And so as we continue to see this card come up and up and up, this is such an important reminder that we must choose love. We must choose to receive people with love so that we are moving forward in a higher vibration. And it is through that higher vibration that we are going to be able to create and recreate the place of peace. Maybe not in my lifetime, hopefully, but definitely we are going to be we are moving in that direction. I see already that we are moving in that direction. Sometimes it doesn't feel like that, especially if you watch the news, but we are moving in that direction. And so our last card for today, it says no. Now, I don't know what the question is, so I'm going to hand this to you, and I'm going to say, it says no. It says wait, postpone, pause, or say no. So if you have been thinking it's time for me to fill in your blank, and I want to tell you that perhaps it's time to just take a breath, take a beat, take a pause, and just say, I'm going to come back to this. This might not be the right time for me to step into whatever it was I was going to step into. Okay, so we're going to take some questions and do some readings. I'm not sure if we have any questions right now. So if you have a question, go ahead and plop that in the chat, and we will do our best to get to you. So a reminder that we have great and full, which is our root chakra, to stay grounded, to remember all the things for you to be grateful for, and to stay grounded in your energy, because we have so much potential. We have so much ability to move forward and be effective if we are keeping ourselves grounded. We are also being guided by Morgan this week, who is going to be the magical goddess of light and dark, life and death. So we must be willing to let go of things then, and to reevaluate and reassess things. Is this still serving a good purpose, a positive purpose in my life, a blessing in my life? And if it's not, it's okay to grieve the loss, but let it go. Okay, and then we have the initiation, that we are coming out of the cocoons. We are coming out. We are stepping into new light. And I see that we are stepping into new light. But it is about that transformation, that rite of passage, coming out into the new world. And so as we are still in this new moon, who do you want to be? We've been talking about that a lot. Who do you want to be in this new transformation? So if you haven't done that work yet, this is a reminder that it's definitely time to do that. And then we have Lemuria, which reminds us it's possible. It's possible to have positive and love-filled relationships and create a space of utopia, a space of love and peace and gratitude here on earth. The Lemurians remind us that it's possible because they did it. And it is up to us to choose to vibrate higher, to choose that evolution, to bring ourselves to that place. And whatever you have been contemplating, this is the last card, says nope. Whatever it is that you may have been contemplating, if there was a should I or shouldn't I question going on for you in your world, I want to say to you that right now you might take a breath, put a pin in it, take a pause, and revisit it in about a week. I would say 10 days. 10 days is what I'm hearing. Give it about 10 days. So if you have been questioning, do I do or do I not do, give it a little bit of time and come back to it. We do not seem to have any questions either on Instagram or Facebook today. So unusual. But I know between the daylight savings time over the weekend and the new moon, and it's spring break for a lot of people, so we have a small group today, but I look forward to your comments in the replays, and I invite you to join us on Wednesday night. Wednesday night, we're going to be talking about, in our weekly meditation, we're going to be talking about grounding and back into the earth and getting our roots down in there, as we are again going to be approaching the spring solstice equinox. The equinox, sorry, the spring equinox, as we come into the 21st. So lots of that energy is going to be shifting over this next week as we come into that in the 20th and 21st, that energy window. So make sure that you are with us on Wednesday night. I know Wednesday is St. Patrick's Day, so feel free to wear something green and we're going to be talking about lots of spring things. So I look forward to seeing you there on Wednesday night. I want to say thank you so much for choosing to spend some time with me this afternoon. I'm always so incredibly grateful for all of you who choose to spend some time today. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And I look forward to seeing you right back here on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, for our weekly meditation. Mwah! Have a great week.